Welcome everyone back to another BOLDcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Phantom Blood, Episode 4. It's been like 2 months since we watched, just because other stuff got in the way, and we still haven't announced that this is going to be on the channel yet.
So it wasn't a priority.
So it wasn't a priority, but we got ahead on everything else, so hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll be binging the rest of Part 1 today, so that that's over with, and then if we take a break, it's not going to be like
the worst
a big
ever.
deal. But yeah, are you liking this whole thing of just a little meta thing? I can cut this out maybe, but like, are you liking the thing of watching it, like, not announcing it, just watching it at your own pace? Does it feel kind of more free?
Yeah, a little bit actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why, but also, I would have liked to like watch it. The bad thing about that is
we took too long of a break.
Then it becomes not a priority because we haven't promised it. So who knows when we'll release this? It could be like months and months, like half a year before we even.
I could have my hair cut by the time this is all out. So yeah.
Yeah. But I do like it. Just sort of not having the pressure to, like, I guess especially going into it, having the pressure that if I just fucking hated it, we would never have to speak of it again.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it, obviously. I'm really enjoying it so far. And I think what worked in our advantage of this show specifically, and specifically where we left off, is it was such a complete intro to the series.
Yeah.
That leaving, like, that I feel like if you were going to take a break, you should probably just do it there.
Yeah.
It was like the perfect spot that if we had to not watch it for a month, we might as well leave it there.
About, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, so Dio is seemingly alive.
Dio
they
is
had the fight and
evil vampire boy.
And now who knows what's going to happen next. So let's just get into it. Phantom Blood, Episode 4. Let's go. Is he still unconscious? Just so extra. He has blisters just from changing his dressing and washing him. That's for sure. Ah, my arm. Jesus, he's like Arnold in his prime.
Jesus! I would be a bit more concerned about that. Just with a sandwich? With no crusts on it?
True gentleman.
How do you know about it? Yeah, what? You just, like... Where did you get that?
This is so awesome. Jojo.
Special breathing technique. It's Demon Slayer.
A little bit of inspiration there.
Now that's pretty impressive. Some big stakes here.
Yeah, high stakes, high stakes. This is so crazy.
What? Oh.
Because he activated. Just the most classic, like, Star Wars shit. The pose. The pose. Dio's got his own ambition. The bazaar.
Huh.
Oh, on the boat.
Yikes. The worst place.
Just like Dio.
That sucks. Okay.
The subs are saying ripple, but they are saying hamon or Hammon or whatever, however you want to say it. The soundtrack.
Ah!
Wind Knight's lot.
Great. I love how he's just like on the team now. Like everyone.
He was won over by Jojo's passion. His raw, like, love for his father. And the tragedy of his brother's deception.
What is his outfit?
Hey man, don't hate, that hat is legendary. Once again, Araki with the fucking animals.
Ew! This is so fucking disgusting! But why would you do that?
To freak him out. He just stabbed himself in the face and he doesn't even care. Ah, shit, cave-in.
I was just growing more. I was wondering where he got, like, so many of those matching things.
Very period song choice. All the poses. Old bean. True. Begin to expect many of those like crazy rousing speeches in the middle of one attack. That's kind of Jojo in a nutshell. As if it wasn't difficult enough. High stakes. Zappelli is a fan of high stakes.
Yeah, when he says, like, learning during the fight, he doesn't just mean learning from the fight, he means your lesson will also be taking place during the fight. Where did he get that?
Don't sweat the details, alright? I love the sound design. It's like so reminiscent of old school like 90s sound design, even though this was made in like 2012. Holy shit. What'd you think of that one? New character, new power system?
Yeah, they're introducing how it's all gonna work from here on out.
Pretty much.
I guess until they get stands.
Correct. Yes.
But so he uses his breathing technique.
Yes.
To create a ripple, and then can just kill stuff.
No, it's more complicated than that. But basically, like everything, all life sort of vibrates. It's all vibrations, and it's all like on a different wavelength. He's like matching
the one from the sun,
exactly,
to kill those,
which they are vulnerable to. So it makes sense if you really think about it, but not if you don't, and if you think about it too much. But yeah, so it's a cool power system. And, but it's, I think most people prefer stands, and you'll see why, but for the first 2 parts, obviously I won't talk about it too much because I'll just let you experience it yourself, but, like, for the first 2 parts, as you already know, it's different, and then once it gets into part 3, then they get the stands. But, yeah. So, what do you think of Baron Zappelli?
Everyone in the show is just so extra, and I kind of love it.
Yeah, exactly.
But though I don't know, is it okay for me to just, like, kind of laugh at the ridiculousness of it?
That's 100% okay.
Because I don't know, like, what the fans of the show are like, and I'm not going to change my reaction because of that, but I'm like, is this, like, supposed to be kind of, like, ridiculous?
Of course it is. Yeah, it's yes, it is. It's sold, especially the first 2 parts, as more, well, I think all of it, as kind of as a shonen action comedy. So like it's meant to be, especially Jojo especially is meant to be fucking ridiculous and like out of control. It doesn't a lot of the shit doesn't make sense, and you just kind of have to go with it. Some people like that. Some people, like, I got kind of turned off, especially in part 2. I don't know.
I like it. I like just, like...
not worrying about it too much?
Yeah, like, some crazy shit is and, like, the thing is, it seems like the crazy shit, like, doesn't necessarily take away from, like, the action moments. It's just like, oh, he's walking down the street and some random dude just comes out and just punches him. Yeah. And then he picks up a rock that literally wasn't there because they're in the middle of the road, and he's like, wow, I can lift this rock
without even trying.
And I'm like, where did you get that rock?
And then he punches the frog.
Yeah, that was
and then shatters the rock beneath the frog without harming the frog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just like how Jojo punched the wall. Mm-hmm. Didn't break the wall, but killed the guy.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, we're getting into some interesting stuff. I love how Speedwagon is just there and is just like,
he was
is
a criminal.
This okay?
He was a criminal and like just a real piece of shit. And then on Ogre Street, yeah. And
now he's just inspired.
He was inspired and taken by Jojo's compassion and sense of justice. Mm-hmm.
And now he's just like he's just like so concerned for Jojo. He's like already just like so invested in him and just like really wants to look out for him. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Oh, and also, I like the backstory of how he was like, I was like, how the fuck could he possibly know about that mask? But then his entire backstory was that like he was the first one to find the mask.
Exactly.
And then his dad killed everyone except for him, and then got like burned up by the sun right in front of his eyes, which would be a pretty traumatic experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like how he was eating a sandwich with no crust.
Yeah.
The sandwich looked pretty good. I kind of want one.
Very refined. Yeah, me too. I want like a nice ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy. No, okay. Yeah, this, and Jojo is notorious for anime time.
Of, like, his entire speech while he's, like, flying through the air.
While he's, like, all he did was, like, sort of counterattack. A very simple attack. But during that, he had a huge, rousing speech about, like...
about a flea and courage.
And then he said the northern winds made the Vikings, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he had the wine, and I was like, man, this guy's hardcore, making him not spill the wine. But then it turns out that the wine was actually just to help him.
Yes.
It wasn't, the wine wasn't necessarily part of the test.
It was, but it was also, you know.
It was like
the northern winds. Mm-hmm. It was against him, but it's also what allowed him to succeed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool shit. And the thing I wanted to say about the speeches is that it's because Jojo is such a good manga. Like, it's such a memorable and celebrated manga. And I'm actually glad, like, it's kind of silly, and it gets really silly at some points with the whole anime time thing during people talking, and, like, there's so many examples of, like, how are you talking, like, just like this happens all the time, but I think I and many people who like the adaptation, because David Production, the people who made this, they're, like, obviously big fans of JoJo, and they really care about making a good adaptation. So they chose, I think, to just let the anime time be and, like, have things play out as they were, rather than, like, weirdly animate a bunch of other attacks and, like, draw everything out. Instead, you just draw out the one thing that actually happened in the manga.
I think it's not bad, especially since the show's kind of over the top in, like, every other way.
Yeah.
That it fits more than it would in probably some other shows. Of, like, oh, if all these characters are so extra and everything is, like, the most dramatic thing to have ever happened, then when they're giving a speech in the middle of an attack, it's not, like, oh, how could he have time for that? It's like, yeah, of course that guy would be giving a speech in the middle of his attack.
Because they set it up beforehand that, like, this is how it's already so over the top that they kind of get some creative license from you, you know? Like, you don't expect them to be super serious when they're just, like, screaming about about, like, the ripple and all this shit, and they're just, like, sitting there talking, and then, like, everything is just so out of control and extra. Erina fucking, like, as calloused and
she must have changed his wounds 1,000
thousands of times.
It was, like, a week later, wasn't it?
It was, like, 3 days.
Yeah.
She must have changed them thousands of times. Her hands are, like, bruised and blistered and chapped from just changing bandages and washing him non-stop. And then she faints after. Like, it's just so over the top that, like, you're prepared to, like, give it more than you would other shows.
And I really like all the colors and the designs. I don't know.
It's awesome.
It's cool.
Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Get a week ahead on Patreon and on Cuts. And if you are a patron, thank you very much for your support. But we'll see you in the next one. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Bye-bye.